Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Premodern at the request of Patreon subscriber John, and this is Mono Blue Dreadnought. This is, of course, one of the marquee decks of the Premodern format. It's the #1 most played deck on MTG Goldfish. It's consistent, it's powerful, it's got some cool side pivots out of the sideboard. I am, of course, preparing for several months of Premodern. There is the Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy event that has a Premodern secondary event on Sunday after their big Mox Ruby event on Saturday for Legacy. There's the Battle at the Bay 2 out in San Mateo, California, run by Merlion Games. I'm not attending that one. It does overlap with one of my other things, and it's 3,000 miles away from me. But there is Premodern to be played at a high level on the West Coast as well. And of course, 2 Excalibur events coming up, Columbus, and then in September, Niagara Falls. I've been promoting all of these events. Lots of Premodern to play this summer, and that's just the ones I'm promoting. I'm sure there's other ones around too. This format is doing quite well right now. And while I am personally attracted to the green decks in Premodern, Oath of Druid, Survival of the Fittest, Terravore, and that's kind of what I'm into, Cross and Tusker even, like the rock decks, I gotta acknowledge the elephant in the room, the 12-12 elephant in the room, Phyrexian Dreadnought. And if I'm going to be playing a 400-person 25K tournament, I want to be playing the best deck. Or at least the best deck for me, the one I think I'll win the most matches with, and that means I gotta study the blade here and play some Mono Blue Dreadnought. This deck's only way to win in the main deck is 4 copies of Phyrexian Dreadnought. Your goal is to get this thing into play using Stifle to counter its enters the battlefield trigger, or Vision Charm to slide it out before its trigger resolves, and then hit your opponent twice. We've got Counterspell, 4 of those, and then 4 foils, 2 dazes, and a thwart, and a misdirection for pitch interaction or free interaction. 0 mana interaction. Lots of ways to send it early and protect this thing. And then the rest of the deck, Opt, Peek, Portent, Flash of Insight, that's to find the pieces. A very singularly focused deck here. And then one of my favorite things, I played a Team Eternal event. I was in the Vintage seat, and my Premodern seat was playing this deck. And I hadn't seen this before till he was in the middle of doing it in a match. 2 Brain Freezes in the sideboard. This is for those control decks that have way more removal than you have Dreadnoughts. Decks like Standstill, where you just wait. You hit your land drops, you sculpt your hand to be perfect, and then when it's time to go, you do something like Gush, target you with Vision Charm twice. Target player mills 4 is one of the modes on Vision Charm. Surprised by that. Draw a card or whatever, and then Brain Freeze your opponent out. Just fair and square. There's no Storm combo here. It's literally just they're going to have 7 removal spells in their hand waiting for your Dreadnought, and you're going to mill them for 30 in 1 turn, and there's nothing they could do about it. Pretty sweet. An elegant solution to a difficult situation. I'm not an expert with this strategy. Figuring out the sideboard is going to be something I do on the fly. I know there are resources out there. I tried to hit a few of them before recording this, but a lot of them are from when Parallax Tide was still legal, and that's a completely different side pivot that no longer is what the deck is about. So I'm just going to raw dog it, try to make sense of it with my brain on the fly. This is Mono Blue Dreadnought from John. I'm on the draw in round 1. Island Portent Keep, I guess. I have Vision Charm, looking for a Dreadnought and some lands. A forest. Birds of Paradise. What the hell is this? Oh my god. Marvel Commander printing of Birds of Paradise. I've just never seen this art before. Okay. Noted. The migration of the cranes is believed to be a portent of coming abundance in Wakanda. Portent of coming abundance? What a perfect flavor text. I'm about to portent into Dreadnought and an island. Oh, alright, I found the Dreadnought. Portent, show me the island. I'm sending it turn 2 if I got it against whatever this green deck is. Shit, bro. Alright. I will shuffle this. Any order, shuffle. I just need an island, and I'm in business. Portent draws island. A portent of coming abundance. Get wrecked, Birds of Paradise. Wakanda for never. Am I right? A morph. Okay, this could be Nantuko Vigilante. I think I have to daze this, actually. Yeah. Look at you fending off imminent death. Okay, now if I wait till turn 3, I can thwart to protect my Dreadnought, or I can Vision Charm it twice. Yeah, this might become hold up counterspell, wait a couple turns. Duress. All right, well, not anymore, it's not. Take one of the charms, I suppose. Can't take the Dreadnought, that's my important card. Important card? Important? Is this joke old yet? I'll leave it alone. Thwart is gone. Okay, I'm gonna wait 2 turns and do the double protected option. I'm holding up counterspell, which does not actually beat. If my opponent has Cabal Therapy, that could be bad news for me. But I think waiting the turn and giving myself the protection line is the way to do this. Wall of Blossoms is fine. That does take a turn off the clock. Okay. Opponent pass without doing anything. I can opt here. I don't need a Portent. Didn't need an island either. But island does turn on foil if I draw one of those. Okay, Phyrexian Dreadnought. I'm going to use the card my opponent knows about, which is Vision Charm. I could stifle something like Pernicious Deed or Seal. I guess Green Seal is not legal. That was in Time Spiral. The Seal of Cleansing is white. But I can currently double protect my Dreadnought. It won't be in play again until my next untap phase, where I'll then have Counterspell Vision Charm available. We're on the bus. We just need to get to our destination. Yavimaya Elder could not give a shit about that. I suspect we'll see this Wall of Blossoms. Take one for the team here. Attack for 12. Okay, this doesn't change the clock. You do get to search for some lands, though. I guess if that's something you cared about. Island. Pass. I could hold that island back in case I need to impulse into a foil. But impulsing into Gush, drawing foil is also online, and I have double protection already. Recurring Nightmare. Interesting. Do I care about this? I mean, I can stifle the activation. Okay, whatever. I mean, in Tuca Vigilante, it's when it's turn faced up, not when it enters, so I'm not worried about that. And this is activated as a sorcery. There's not, like, tricks to flip it around during combat. Gush. All right, yeah, I'm going to take Gush here rather than a second Dreadnought. Gush can turn on foil by itself. Could also find foil if that becomes important. Smothering in the upkeep. All right, I'm going to use Counterspell here to actually push the damage. I could Vision Charm, but I can do that on their turn to protect it as well. Oh no, the misdirection. That would have been so good. All right, I'm going to Gush pre-combat because I have land drops to give anyway. And I can opt anytime, so I'll just attack here. A Vision Charm fades out, an artifact, not a creature. Opponent's going to take 8 here, go to 1. All right, go. And sacrificing a creature and bouncing this are the cost of casting this spell. Wall of Blossoms, don't care. Or the cost of activating Recurring Nightmares. So if they do pop that, they'll be down the Nightmare and down the creature they sacked before they even know I have Stifle. Okay, cool. Just a little patience getting it done. Sabo's Web does affect the creature land. I really don't know that I need to sideboard at all here, though. Opponent is a removal strategy, and they probably do have Cabal Therapies in their deck. I could imagine the Brain Freeze pivot being good enough here, but not if they have Gaia's Blessing, which is sometimes a card that these decks randomly have. Sometimes there's a couple in the main, sometimes there's one in the board. I don't think I'm going to pivot onto that until I'm convinced that I need to. Is Sabo's Web enough just for Treetop Village? A null would hit Pernicious Deed. They're going to have Naturalize, Smother, plus discard. And yeah, I can stifle a Gaia's Blessing if I feel like I need to Brain Freeze to get him. Daze was actually very important that game. It kept that Nantuko Vigilante out of play, which would have actually made my game a lot harder, but Stifle can handle that too. And that's just a clunky removal spell if we think about it. Like, if I'm not bringing things in specifically to handle Smother, then why would I bring in things specifically to handle Nantuko Vig? Yeah, I mean, it's possible I don't sideboard at all. It's possible Dazes can become Brain Freezes. Maybe I'll go 1-1, give myself the option. That's probably not right, but I'm very intrigued by this option. All right, well, hand is solid. In a matchup like this, I almost don't want the Dreadnought in my opening hand, because if they Cabal Therapy, Dreadnought's likely their name. And I I have so many options to just cantrip into it that we don't need to do it like this. Yeah, they got one. And then that Cabal Therapy on getting double Stifle is pretty messed up too. That is the scariest card in their deck by a lot, the Cabal Therapy. Portent, Flash of Insight, Foil, Island. Do I want any of these? Do I want all of these? And Flash of Insight is a nice reload. That is insulation versus discard. Okay, I'm going to go Foil, Flash, Island, no shuffle. I'm hiding the spells against this discard deck. That's likely to look at my hand this turn. Yeah, this is the rock nuts here. The Wall of Blossom. Cabal Therapy, hit on turn 1. Wall of Blossom, cantrip, sack it off, get 2 more cards. Busted. But all these blue cards that are now in my graveyard fuel the Flash of Insight, which I'm building towards. That's also just randomly half my weapons versus Gaia's Blessing if I do end up on the other strat. Okay. I'm gonna go Island, Stifle, Foil, no shuffle here, and just work my way through this. I'm putting a lot of stake in Flash of Insight right now. Pernicious Deed, okay. Not a surprising card. I am holding an answer to it. Currently, Flash of Insight grabs the island off the top of my deck. I would rather be patient if I have the option. Really depends on how bad this turn goes for me. Okay, so Flash can grab the island right now. Then they get to look at this hand. Stifle is probably the take. They could just take Flash, but then I get to look at 4 cards immediately. All right, I will Flash for 1. I'll take the card. This is not worth foiling to me. If that's 3 of my 4 Stifles gone just like that. But I am now holding up Hardcast Foil, Hardcast Thwart, Powder Keg. That destroys artifacts and creatures. It does not destroy Pernicious Deed. There's no reason to invest in that when I have 2 hard counters in my hand, or the ability to dig 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards into my deck. Second Deed. All right. I think I am on the Brain Freeze skill. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. End step Flash of Insight for 5. That is pretty bleak. I'll take Opt from among those cards, and I'll play Opt. Don't want an island. I'm looking for cards like Gush. Another island. Ravenous Baloth. I'd like to counter target spell. That one actually will kill me. Vision Charm. Okay, we're halfway there. I can invest Powder Keg now. Get it powdering up. I'll probably crank it up to 2, though 4 seems to be one of their win con numbers. Naturalize. Bust it. Your spell fizzles, dumbass. Got him. I could have phased it out and saved it, but that's not actually that important. Hey, there's one of my better cards. Send it, baby. Another one. I could just hard cast the other Gush right now, and I still have Counterspell up. I like that. All right. Oh. All right. Well, things just came together quickly. Is foil good enough? Oh no, there's 2 fucking Pernicious Deeds in play. All right, I'll pass the turn. I was like, wait a minute. Wall of Roots. Okay. All right, so I would need to use the Vision Charm to even get the Dreadnought into play, which is not good enough. Opt. I'm looking for the Brain Freeze. All right, I'll take Impulse. And I'm going to hold on to this Gush for a minute. I would need the Brain Freeze and the Stifle, and I would need for my opponent to have only 1 Blessing in their deck. Impulse. Another Dreadnought, another Charm. Okay, so I play Dreadnought, I play Charm, opponent deeds for 1. I Charm in response, they deed for 1 again. I get 3 for 2'd, but the deeds are gone, but I'm also have 1 Dreadnought left in my deck. I'm going to take Opt and give myself just more card selection here. Island to the bottom. Another counterspell. We are fully in this gear now. No more wastes. I'm going to Gush in the end step. It's the hard way. There's the Stifle. There's the 4th Gush. Okay. Now I am 1 card away from defending Dreadnought against the 2 deeds. I have so many counter spells that if I can beat the deeds, I'm actually good. And that's crazy. Recurring Nightmare. I don't think I want this card to be around. That gives them Ravenous Baloth and Wall of Blossoms. Well, there's Vision Charm. Okay, so it's Dreadnought, Charm. They deed in response. Charm again. They deed in response. Stifle. Now I have Dreadnought with Counterspell and Foil backing it up. They've got 3 cards in their hand and haven't really played threats. I don't think I'm ready to make this move. I can be more patient and have more protection. Is their hand, there's a good chance it's just a bunch of removal spells right now. All right, do I hardcast Gush in this end step, or do I just go to my turn? I might need the islands in my hand to foil. Okay, a 3rd Vision Charm. Now we're gaming. All right, I'll start doing some stuff. Phyrexian Dreadnought. Vision Charm. Phase out target artifact. And they could try to deed now. Naturalize. I'm going to use counter spells on things that are counterable, because there's multiple onboard uncounterable things. Smother. Gush in response to that. Counterspell. And I have the cards now to foil. Deed for 1. Target artifact phases out. Okay, it's successfully phased out. Their Birds of Paradise dies. They still have a land drop. Okay, so I can protect twice against the current deed that's in play, and I have another hard counter in my hand. Another deed. All right, well, I can protect from that. Should I be just a Stifle and Charm? Yeah, I guess Foil could counter a different removal spell, and Stifle and Charm are mostly the same thing here. Okay, I'll hold on to the Foil. If I could hard cast it on a different spell later, that's fine. A deed for 1. Target artifact phases out. And they are taking the slow tempo here. They're not stacking deed activations on top of each other. And I think they are right to do that. I'm going to Impulse right now. I'll take Opt. Bury some Dreadnoughts here. Okay. Pass the turn. And now I can hard cast Foil, which saves me some cards versus the line I would have done last turn. Ravenous Bee. Am I racing at this point? Yeah, I think I'm committed to a race. I can't use a counterspell on that anymore. Opt. Island to the bottom. Oh, there's Brain Freeze. Suddenly, another option. Though I am on my last Stifle, which means if my opponent has a Gaia's Blessing in their deck, this Brain Freeze is blank. I'm just going to hope Phyrexian Dreadnought wins the game from here. How about that? Opponent's got 1 card in hand. I am beating their board, and I have a hard counter available. Opponent's at 8, which is actually 12, which is the same thing as being at 8 against my deck. So they do have a lot of toughness in play to block with. Foil. Okay, last card in hand. Please don't be a removal spell. I worked so hard to get here. Have they been sandbagging? It's a lot of mana. Haunting Echoes. Okay. There's not a Brain Freeze in my graveyard. So there might not be any cards left in my deck when this is done. Okay, there are 14 cards left in my deck. A lot of them are going to be basic lands. And I don't think I'm going to Brain Freeze. If I randomly mill over a Genesis, that would be so embarrassing. And they're not close to dead. All right, Dreadnought attack. Soaking up as much as they can, it seems. Opponent's at 3. Lay out the island they know I have. Or, I guess, Haunting Echoes doesn't look at hand, does it? It does not. Oh no. Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. Play some creature I don't care about. Not that one, no! And I can't even daze this because it's a 2-mana morph up. Oh, that was so good. Yeah, all right. Literally, this game, if Cabal Therapy hits 1 card or 2 cards instead of 3, like if I just randomly didn't have 2 Stifles in my opening hand, I think I win this game, which is pretty crazy to think about. But it did come down to that top deck right there. That was everything. I don't even know what cards are in my deck anymore, but I guess I have to play to this Brain Freeze line. 7/7. I can take 2 hits here, and then I think there's a Vision Charm still in my deck. I'm out of Gushes, that's for sure. Portent. Do I want this on my Storm turn, or do I want it now to set up my Storm turn? I guess I want it now. Portent, target me. Chain of Vapor, Flash of Insight. Oh, that's actually pretty good. Okay. Island. These are all instants. Chain, Flash. Do not shuffle. Okay. Opponent's got 35 cards in their deck. That's a lot. With the cards back on the bottom in any order. Okay, so I can damn near stack my deck here. Flash of Insight for 8. Peak, Portent, Chain of Vapor. I guess it's Peak. That's just the highest velocity option. And then I go Chain, Portent, all the lands. So the top 2 cards in my deck, I'll see them both. I can Flash of Insight, Misdirection. All right. Was there actually a Vision Charm left in my deck? Peek at your hand. I hope it's Guy's Blessing. It's Dust Bowl. All right, there wasn't. Storm can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not nearly enough. All right, and my whole deck is islands from here. All right, that Nantuko Vigilante top deck at the end. Interesting. Though, does that make me want the Brain Freeze more or less? Because now they've seen it. If there is a Guy's Blessing, it's probably in. And that game that went everything their way, like on the play, turn 1 Cabal Therapy, hit Dreadnought, flashback hit 2 Stifles. Stifle also was randomly the card that makes my Brain Freeze better. Like there was a lot of small RNG in that game. Also top decking the Vigilante the turn they were dead. Like all of those things. Also, that was a card that Stifle would have answered. There was a lot of tiny RNG in that game that makes me think that even though I lost it, we might not need these weird tools in here if I can just, play Magic with my Dreadnoughts and set up a protection for them. A null counters Pernicious Deed. I think I might be more interested in that sort of thing. All right, we saw Dust Bowl was added to the Treetop Village list of things that Sabo's Web hits, but I don't care about Dust Bowl. I could shave the second Daze here. A null for Pernicious Deed specifically. That is an important card. Chain of Vapor actually seems kind of dangerous against this deck, though I won't have any permanents in play unless it's Dreadnought. I can just time it correctly. And if they fill their deck with Gaia's Blessings, thinking that I'm going to Brain Freeze them, that's okay. Chain of Vapor is actually really interesting, specifically paired with Vision Charm. Because if I have Vision Charm in a Dreadnought, they play Deed. I bounce Deed in their end step. They both can't chain my Vapor onto my phased out Dreadnought, and I time walk the Deed and get a hit in. Is that better than Powder Keg? Probably. Okay. I will try this. I don't think I'm trying to Aura Flux to counter the Deeds, but a null makes some sense. On the play, I will keep. I don't have any of the obvious names for Cabal Therapy in my hand, which helps. You cannot misdirect a Duress. That does specify opponent. I can misdirect a Cabal Therapy, though I won't on this particular turn. If I draw Dreadnought, I'm sending it. Oh my fucking god. Well, this is what we do around here, right? Phyrexian Dreadnought. Vision Charm. Okay, well, that's in play, and my hand is 3 counterspells for it. They've got a Swamp, so Smother is operational. I'd love to draw a blue card here. Counterspell that. Draw an island. Attack, and I guess I'm just going to pass with foil or misdirection available. If they have like Duress plus Naturalize, they can beat this. But if they have just a removal spell, they're dead. Wall of Blossoms does not change the clock. Dreadnought perfectly tramples over that for the remaining 8. And look at that. Wow. Yeah, that's actually an insane showcase of this deck. That last game where I spent 20-something turns sculpting a line where I beat Double Deed, Naturalize, Smother, and then they have to top deck Nantuko Vigilante on their last turn before they're dead, versus this game where they just could see it on turn 3. Awesome. All right, yeah, I mean, I get it. On to the next round. I'm excited to be a special guest for the Excalibur Events Niagara Falls weekend, September 25th through 27th, 2026. This event features the Premodern Scaling 25K with $10,000 guaranteed and $5,000 added to the prize pool at 275, 350, and 450 players for a total of $25,000. Gold Border and Collector's Edition cards are legal in this tournament, and you can use up to 10 playtest cards to fill out your deck. Be sure to check the FAQ on the Excalibur website to follow their playtest card policy. This has a chance of being the biggest Premodern event ever. Sign up now and use code BOSH for $5 off entry. I hope I'll see you there. I'm on the draw in round 2, Hand looks great. Playing against Lord Tywin, the greatest villain of the 21st century. That's intimidating. And needs a Dreadnought, but it's good at finding it and can protect itself a little bit in the meantime. Oh, maybe not against the turn 1 Jackal Pup. That's my nightmare. All right, well, if I find a Dreadnought fast, I'm good. If I don't, I'm bad. that's how this goes. Mono red is, I believe, a matchup that is heavily favored for Dreadnought, but you do have to have the thing. If they just deal 20 to you, you're dead. Well, that's interesting. Normally, I wouldn't use Stifle like this, but I already have a Vision Charm if I draw a Dreadnought, and slowing my opponent down is a pretty tempting offer, actually. That does come at the cost of Opt, but I think that's a cost I can bear for now. That's what you get for putting fetch lands in your mono red deck. Just good deck building. Lavamancer is attacking. And Thwart is online starting next turn, so finding Dreadnought is just everything now. Barbarian Ring. Well, I'm not going to erase that card successfully. Dreadnought, Dreadnought. Impulse, Opt. I'll start with Opt because this could find Dreadnought and go right now. Portent to the bottom. Foil. All right. Impulse is a lot of looks. Thwart is operational, but I don't really want to cast it until there's a Dreadnought in play. Lavamancer stays home this time. That means 1 mana is tied up for that, which means unless there's a land, I'm not getting pillared. Okay. Impulse. There could be a flurry of burn when I'm tapped out. Ugh. All right. So what actually sees more cards here? Flash of Insight sees 1 card, and then I take 3 or 4, and then it sees a bunch of cards. Then I take another 4. I think I need to Impulse and try to keep it moving. Flash is a little too slow for what we're dealing with. Dreadnought, Dreadnought. Opt. All right. Same option as last turn. Opt first in case I hit it. Stifle to the bottom. Powder Keg. Wow. Okay. That gives me some fresh life here. Lightning Bolt in response. Do I want to thwart this? I'm now in self-preservation mode. I have a land drop available. Thwart also turns on foil. This is kind of strange, but it feels right given the texture of this current game we're playing. Okay, I'm at 11. Opponent's thwarted. Powder Keg's in. Island's in. And this could take all the pressure off the board. Foil is operational. Ball lightning. Well, that kills me, so discard 1 of the islands and 1 of the charms. I'm in throw it all at the wall, try not to die mode right now. Powder Keg will put 5 cards in their graveyard for Barbarian Ring. I'm going to be at 7 when all this happens. Still don't love my chances, but again, drawing Dreadnought would be pretty nice. Okay, when they do that, they make Barbarian Ring farther away. Portent and Impulse. Impulse just sees more cards. That's all it's really about. Though if Portent, they see the same number of cards, don't they? All right, I'm going to sacrifice Powder Keg now before they can put a spell in their graveyard and get action out of Grim Lavamancer again. Maybe it's just that Portent is a sorcery, and I should be using that. Like if this finds a peak or something, Stifle, Flash, Vision Charm, I'm just going to shuffle. That shuffle's tough because I had put like 15 or 20 cards I didn't want at the bottom, and now they're back in the pool of cards. Yeah, maybe the shuffle was actually bad enough that I should have led on Impulse. Yeah, I think I messed up that sequence. I'm just going to draw Phyrexian Dreadnought, though, and it's okay. Or Gush, or like something really nice. All right, well, Impulse can find a land that casts Portent, or it can find nothing at all. That's cool, too. Do I think Counterspell or Chain of Vapor is better? Probably Chain of Vapor. My opponent is beating me senseless with a 2-1. And as last game, that game 3 versus the Rock, where I just ripped Dreadnought on turn 2 and easily won. Here's a game where I've seen probably 30 cards. I haven't actually been counting, but I've seen a lot of cards, and none of them are Phyrexian Dreadnought, which would have won the game at any point that it arrived. All right, I am at 1. Opponent has 6 cards in their graveyard. Got me. All right. GG. Yeah, I think that Portent on the previous turn was a sequencing error. Obviously, if the Dreadnought's not there, the game still goes the same way, but I don't get to talk about that if I don't play to it. Okay, Essence Flare. This kills pups and lackeys and lavamancers. This equipped creature gets +2/+0 at the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller. Put an 0/1 counter on it. So I can make Jocko Puff briefly 4/1, and then it's 4/0, and it dies. We're looking at Daze, Misdirection. In Misdirection, sending a burn spell back at their face is funny, but destroy target artifact is what I'm worried about. And unless they have a curse scroll in play, that won't do much. The Powder Keg actually came up pretty big there, but it's because I was playing a game I didn't want to play. I'm bringing in significantly better cards than Thwart. I guess that's how I should think about this. Flash of Insight is really slow, but it is also really important. I want the foils, the gushes. Maybe it's actually Counterspell, because I'm upgrading it into Blue Blast. Alright, I'll try it like this. I could see a Null being a thing for Curse Scroll, Pyrostatic Pillar. I'm gonna keep. I have the ability to see lots of cards. I don't have a fast Dreadnought, not yet. This Portent's just going to show me Stifle Dreadnought, though, and we're good. Does my opponent have any cards in their deck that say Portent in their flavor text? Because that helped last round. Target me with Portent. Opponent's on 6 cards. Blue Blast, opt. Okay. I will keep these cards. Even though none of them are what I wanted specifically, they're all great for the situation. Can't stifle that. Played around it. Okay, they were literally just playing around Stifle. This is kind of a weird sequence, because if I Impulse, I lose my opt. If I opt, it sees opt. I'm just going to hold, and if my opponent doesn't pressure me here, I'll wait and draw the opt, because then I get to see the most cards. Mog Fanatic. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I think I'm just going to draw the opt here. Take it slow and steady. Because I don't have A or B right now. And I want to see as many cards as I can to find them. Fanatics coming at me. Another Fanatic. Fanatics are in a weird spot where they're not really worth killing, but they are doing damage to me. They're kind of the perfect card to have here. Yeah. I didn't interact with the first two. You can have that one too. Okay. Impulse in the end step. See a fresh spread of cards. Vision Charm and Stifle. I think I'd rather have Stifle because that leaves the Dreadnought in play as a blocker, which could matter in this damage race. End step opt. Looking at all. Fresh cards. Island to the bottom. Found another Stifle. Counter spell. Opt. Island to the bottom. Gosh, okay, cool. That lets me play out Island without being afraid of losing my foil. I'll probably counter damn near anything they play this turn, because that's what my hand currently does, and now it's just about finding Dreadnought, which is where I found myself last game as well. Land go. Fetching in my upkeep. I'm not stifling this. That ship has sailed. Another stifle. All right. I'm gonna gush and hope to holy heck I find anything to do here. Oh my god. Well, that stinks. Oh no. This is the use 0 of the mana, discard 2 islands in the end step. Gush. Yeah, I don't think I'm supposed to Blue Blast a Mog Fanatic just to use the mana. Tough. Alright, discard 2 islands. At least I got through those dead draws. Down to 13, which is functionally 10. I could stifle the Mog Fanatic activations, if that is what the game comes down to. Lavamancer. I'll counterspell that one. That one's good enough. Another island. Deck, please. I'm starving. This first Mog Fanatic has done like 4 damage by now, which makes it look pretty bad, but it would look a lot worse if I draw Dreadnought and it just gets shattered because I use my Blue Blast on Mog Fanatic. Oh my goodness, we're in. Okay. Phyrexian Dreadnought. Stifle. Hold the island for foil. Pyroblasting my Stifle. That's fine. Use Stifle. The second Stifle to protect it. They now have 2 cards in their hand, and I have 2 answers in mine. They could push 3 damage this turn. I hit back for 12. Then they push 4 damage on the next turn. I'm currently winning the race, but obviously that can change quickly from a burn spell. Yeah, they should just be attacking with everything here. Block 1, I go to 7. Oh, they didn't sacrifice. Okay, so missed a damage there. That was probably just a misclick on MTGO. But every damage matters. I'll take it. They can attack me to 4 on board here. I can still stifle a Fanatic activation if that is the difference maker. I can hardcast foil and blue blast. Blue blast that, counter target red spell. And I can foil a fire blast or stifle a Fanatic activation post fire blast with 3 cards in hand though. I don't love that. Okay, it's my turn. If I draw a card before they send it, I'll feel more comfortable. Incinerate me to 3. All right, that doesn't change anything. All right, I'm at 3. There's no lava dart in the graveyard. Fire blast, cast foil. They have a second fire blast. I'm cooked. I think that's the only card they can have. Yeah, that 1 damage they missed from not sacking the Fanatic was the difference between, like, if they send it on their turn, I don't have the mana to foil and stifle. But if they try to do it in my upkeep, it wouldn't have saved them. Okay, has my thoughts about Flash of Insight changed? It's still slow, but both of these games I've spent just begging for a Dreadnought to show up. I don't think my opinion has changed. Let's do it. Oh, this is so slow. Do I just mulligan for Dreadnought? Is that ever correct? Yeah, this even only has Impulse to look at cards. But it does have Double Charm. All right, I'll keep it. Gotta believe in the knot. Jackal Pup, a real one. Uh-oh. Yeah, Island is here. That gives me foil if I find Dreadnought to send it. Up. That's devastating. Do I have to foil this? Like, I probably don't actually beat this card ever. Gross. All right, discard Island and Vision Charm, I guess. Don't like that. Essence Flare, fuck yes. All right. Enjoy your 4-1. Now it's dead. Blop. Okay. The sideboard. It works. Am I about to get balled? Yeah, I am. All right. Right in the ball. Another Vision Charm. Okay, I'm holding up Counterspell so I don't get balled again. And then I'll Impulse if they don't make me use Counterspell. Lavamancer, I don't think that's worth Counterspell. Like, at the opportunity cost of Impulse. No thanks. Impulse, fetching in response, playing around Stifle. This could be worth Pyroblasting. Yikes. Alright, I guess I have to take Portent and keep looking at cards. Outer Keg. Interesting. I still think Portent is better. If I find Dreadnought, my life is so much better than not. Hydroblast, Portent, Vision Charm. Okay. I will put this Hydroblast on top and then Portent again next turn. And that Island I had to discard earlier is costing me so much, which is not a surprise because having mana is important when you're a control deck. But I've also cast 1, 2, 3, 4 spells since I countered that pillar. And I am killing the Lavamancer. It's going to be worth at least 4 damage, which means holding up for Fire Blast doesn't matter. Doesn't make sense. Counterspell, Vision Charm, shuffle this. Okay, back in the spot where I'm just looking for a 12-12 in all the wrong places. Shields are down. I hope they have a handful of shatters or a handful of lands. That's also fine with me. Oh, okay. Now, important decision. Or I can flicker this out twice. All right, yeah, I'm just going to send. I can beat a Pyroblast, I can beat a Shatter. Vision Charm. Okay. I have a Dreadnought. And if I untap, I also have Counterspell. Moment of Truth, opponent. Have you sandbagged triple Fire Blast? Goblin Cadets. I mostly don't care about. An attack for 12 and just hold up Counterspell and get it done. That's my plan. This Powder Keg's not going to do anything anymore. Pass. I can protect Dreadnought twice. If they have an instant speed, like if they play a lethal spell I have to counter this turn. We got the GGs though. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you don't find the Dreadnought until turn 8 or 10 or whatever, but that's why this matchup is so positive. They just can't really do anything about it if you do anything to protect it. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in round 3. I will keep my hand. I have half the combo and lots of ways to protect it. And I have some of the slower ways to interact or to look. Oh, this would have been a great game to be on the play. Okay, we're playing against red again, which means I am in the market for a fast Dreadnought. And I have Gush plus Foil, which is Splinter Twin. If you haven't seen this interaction before, you pick up 2 islands to draw 2 cards, which guarantees you have an island and another card in your hand to cast Foil with. Even if Gush gets countered, you can discard the 2 islands you picked up. It's pretty nice. Log Fanatic, okay. I'm glad that wasn't Pyrostatic Pillar. Phyrexian Dreadnought off the top, GG. Shit, okay. We play on. Okay, Counterspell's online now, which I am happy to use on anything that's worth a few damage. Like game 1, I don't have to protect from shatters. This attack with Grim Lavamancer is interesting because Fetchland is online. Could have activated it for 2. That makes me think they want to spend mana on other stuff. Fanatic resolves. That's not my fight. I'm not doing that shit. Okay, lots of islands. Yeah, what they're probably doing is holding a bunch of instants in their hand, and they're gonna fire them at me on a turn where, like, I would love to Flash of Insight for 1 in my end step here, and then they'll fling a bunch of stuff at me. Okay, Lavamancer's staying home now. At 15, I don't think I can die here, so I am gonna Flash. Look at 1 card and take it. Yeah, I've been incinerated. I could foil if they go really hard. Vision Charm. I'll take it. Can't even put it away. That's not how that card works. They put me to 10 right now while I can't stifle. Phyrexian Dreadnought, stifle it in. Multiple counterspells backing it up. Now we're moving. Okay, opponent's got 2 cards in hand. I have Counterspell, just straight up. I can Vision Charm my creature out of play if that becomes important. I can Gush, which turns on both foils, because I'll discard the 2 islands and the 2 cards that the Gush draws. I just have to hope that 10 mana holds up versus their existing board. We're just in a damage race now. Or 10 life. I said mana. 10 life. Counter that one. That activates Lavamancer. So you can hit me for 2 right now and lose a Fanatic for it. A block. All right, they remembered to fling it, or to sack it. That's disappointing. Okay, Lavamancer is good for 4, which means I'm at 3 on this board right now. And most of the cards in their deck deal 3. Okay, I'm going to Gush in response to this Fire Blast and hope they don't have a second Fire Blast in response to Gush. Or no, picking up the lands is, oh my god. Misdirection? How about you Fire Blast your Grim Lavamancer? All right, this pitching Impulse. That's nice. That's even better than the foil. Now I don't think I can ever lose. All right, hit Grim Lavamancer. So that's a gain 6 life. The Fire Blast both doesn't hit me, and Lavamancer is gone for next turn. Cool. All right. Now I'm feeling good. And I'm not going to play out this island because double foil is pretty much a lock here, I think. I'm at 4 on the board, and I could counter 2 spells. There's no Exquisite Firecraft in this format. Okay, there it is again. Find the Dreadnought. Find it early, and you're probably okay. Blasts and Flares. And Mixed Direction was nice. I think I boarded it out last round, but that was specifically worried about shatters. I'm going to think about that one a little more. Thwart is slow. Counterspell is slow. Daze is just kind of bad. Flash of Insight is slow. Like, if you can misdirect a lightning bolt to one of their creatures, you're eating good. But if I think they're going to board out some amount of their stuff. I mean, Misdirection is also counterspell for Pyroblast. You can misdirect a Pyroblast onto your Misdirection. And if we think that's one of the more important cards, yeah, maybe I misvalued Misdirection last game. Is Powder Keg just not what I'm supposed to be doing? And with, I'm bringing in 6 removal spells. Yeah, maybe Keg is the error, and I can keep Misdirection. Misdirection is unlikely to protect me from a Shatter. but it is pretty good against Pyroblast and Lightning Bolt effects. Oh no, the double Dreadnought hand, but I have to mulligan it. Mulligan. Okay, hand's pretty good. Keep and bottom. Wow, every card is good here. Vision Charm enables me to combo. Every other card protects me while I combo. I guess Foil asks the most of me here. Basically, my decision here is, do I think I'm going to rip Dreadnought immediately or not? And I'm going to bottom Foil. That's the worst card if I don't draw Dreadnought, and there's only 4 of them. And I think I'm going to have to play a little bit of game before I find one. Mog Fanatic. Okay. I think this is worth an Essence Flare. Why not? It's going to do a bunch of damage to me. Yeah, okay. 1 damage dealt by Mog Fanatic. Could be a lot worse. Mishra's Factory. Okay. They're this build of burn. Vision Charm. I'll pass. Activating Factory. Getting to work over there. Do I want to kill Grim Lavamancer yet? No, they're attacking with it, which means they're not going to be activating it. A good job playing around Counterspell there. Portent, let's go. All right. That's an option. Island, Portent, Portent. Okay. I am actually going to keep these. And I'm going to Gush. A Gush. This draws the 2 Portents. Then I can play a Portent and shuffle away the Island. Lightning Bolt in response, whatever. Island, Portent, myself. Island, Island, Foil. Shuffle this one. And then I draw 2 cards in the next upkeep. I think leaving up Hydroblast is better than playing the 3rd Portent. Island. Gush. Okay. Another Lavamancer. Fire up Factory. I think I'm going to Hydroblast the 1st Lavamancer now. They're setting up for a situation where they can do a lot of damage, and it's not susceptible to counterspells. I can also phase out Mishra's Factory with Vision Charm. That is an artifact. I haven't forgotten. It just hasn't been what I need to do yet. Oh, interesting. Do I think they have a Shatter in their hand? Do I think this game is better if I wait a turn so I can Vision Charm twice? Okay, I think I have the life total to hold up Counterspell for a turn, and then that gives me a bunch of play next turn. Factory's awake. Still attacking with Grim Lavamancer with all this mana up. This smells like an Incinerate. Oh, Foil's so good. All right, well, Dreadnought won't be in play here, so if they attack for 3, burn me, yeah, I think I'm going to lose the race because I have Vision Charm and not Stifle right now. All right, Dreadnought, Vision Charm. So if they don't fight over the Dreadnought, if they are just trying to burn me out, then I could phase out the Mishra's Factory and save some damage. I have used my land drop already this turn, which makes Gush a bit worse. Opponent's doing the math right now. Long pause on this Vision Charm. They're deciding, is this something worth fighting over, or do they win anyway? Okay, that has resolved. I am just going to pass the turn now. Oh, wow. I didn't get incinerated in the end step. That's good. That's 2 whole mana just not spent on an entire turn cycle. That's great for me. Okay, I am going to phase out Mishra's Factory. I am not favored in this race. Anywhere I can gain 1 or 2 life matters right now. Jackal Pup. That's not removal for my Dreadnought. Like, what does this game look like where I just have Dreadnought in play, but I'm not attacking? That looks bad against Grim Lavamancer. Okay, great. All right, well, this resolves. Found Essence Flare. And they are Lavamancering right now. Okay. Chain of Vapor, unfortunately. Pretty awkward. Essence Flare, Jackal Pup, Stifle, Grim Lavamancer activation. Foil a burn spell. That's the line here. Jackal Pup does not block very well. So this damage is coming through. And they don't have mana up, so Pyroblast isn't something I have to think about on the Flare. Okay, Flare the Pup. Stifle the Lavamancer. Take 2 from Factory. Counter the Fire Blast. I got 4 cards in hand, though. I wish I had 2 more life right now. But that turn they did nothing with 2 mana open on the whole turn cycle is kind of good news. They also played this Jackal Pup last turn when they had mana open to do it. Like, their hand might just be bad. Like, there might just be 2 lands out of these 4 cards right now. That's what I gotta hope for. They're not playing like they've been stacking up a perfect setup for many turns. Oh, that's spooky. Well, foil's out of range of that. Okay. Well, I can counter a spell without taking damage. And that's 2 mana spent on something that doesn't kill me. Overload. Okay. So you take 2, and then I'll foil this. Discard Island and Portent. I don't think I'll be portenting anymore this game, not with the pillar in play. If they have a second overload, that would be disappointing. Fire Blast targeting me. They got me. Yeah, this was the full checkmate, because now even if I stifle the Lavamancer activation, I die to the... Okay. Yep, 1 more life. There was a turn where I could have Hydroblasted that first Grim Lavamancer that was attacking me, and then I just did it on the next turn. And I don't think the lesson here is to just aggressively do literally anything to save 1 damage, but that would have been the case there. All right, we've seen Sulfuric Vortex and Pyrostatic Pillar. Chain of Vapor, I still think is better than a Null. Okay, here we go. Yeah, if I had found Dreadnought 1 turn sooner, I win that game. Or if I just defend myself. I think there was a random lightning bolt at one point in the game too, that if I had countered. Okay, well, sign me the fuck up. Keep. All right, let's test this theory that they're not very good against a fast Dreadnought. If they have the overload, though, it's bad. So finding a foil would be great. Jackal Pup. I'll opt in the end step. Misdirection. That's not the one I want. Bottom that. Gush. Please draw foil right now. Impulse. Okay. Options are set up so I can protect with Vision Charm next turn, or just send it. And I think I'm okay to be patient here. If I can counter a spell here, that's a good deal. If I cast Impulse this turn, that's also fine. But the Gush at minimum gives me the option to Stifle and Vision Charm. Lavamancer. I'm not more worried about that than I am about impulsing. Like, if I find foil here, it's just over. Impulse. There's foil. Okay. Foil to my hand. Feel pretty good here. Another Gush. Okay. Blue, Gush. Please Pyroblast Gush. I don't even care. All right. Dreadnought. Stifle. And I've picked up a Blue Blast along the way here. Pyroblast. Blue Blast. Holding on to foil. So they would need another round of protected interaction here. Like, they need Overload plus Pyroblast. And it has to happen now, because I'm going to untap into Counterspell. Then they need 3 things. And they're not going to win a race when I'm at 18. Like, it was close when I was at 8 last game. 18, no chance. Overload, foil, discard Island, and do I want to discard Vision Charm or Counterspell? Vision Charm could protect my Dreadnought in my next upkeep. Is that when anything's going to happen? All right, I would rather have Counterspell. I've decided. They had a lot of interaction. Do you have more? Please don't. There are 8 cards in my graveyard. It's the end of turn 3. I've done a lot. Lightning Bolt, my smelly face. Okay. All right, are we on just race mode from here? Okay, I'm at 13. Oh my god. All right, well, Splinter Twin. I'm at 9 on the board. They can attack and activate Lavamancer. They have to do 9 damage with 3 cards and 3 mana through 2 counterspells. Okay, opponent had a lot of moves that game, but if you have this many moves as the red deck, like if you have Overloads and Pyroblasts in your hand, then you don't have Fire Blasts and Lightning Bolts. You don't get it both ways, and they don't have card advantage, so that was pretty grody. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is sponsored by Ultimate Guard. I travel all over the world playing Magic with very expensive cards. I trust Ultimate Guard products to protect the tools of my trade wherever I go. Whether you like magic art, licensed art from other worlds, entirely original art, or the simplicity of plain colors, their products have incredible range to match anyone's style. Protect your cards how I do, stay up to date with all the new releases at ultimateguard.com, and stop by the Ultimate Guard section of your local game store. I'm on the play in round 4 with a hand that might be a trap because Gush is not really a card you want to play on turn 2. My Dreadnought is not set up. I have no cantrips. I'm going to mulligan this. I'm going to take the discipline line. All right, I'll keep this and bottom an island. I just think this card, or this hand, like 3 islands and 2 importance is better than 1 island, 3 gushes, and a Dreadnought. I should figure out a system for tournament play where I can know whether I'm going to draw a land or not by looking at the back of my cards. Has anyone thought of doing that? Like, are there any Magic the Gathering Hall of Famers who have done that? Or would be Hall of Famers who got banned right before they were inducted? I don't know. Just hypothetically thinking here. Okay. I am going to put Gush and Impulse as the 2 that I get before I impulse away the other portent. A Goose. Oh, baby. You know what card lines up pretty decent against Nimble Mongoose? Powder Keg. One of. Let's go. Wait, what else is going on in this deck? Is this like Madness? Is this Terrageddon? Okay. I gotta watch out for Armageddons out of my opponent here. This does not destroy Sylvan Library, Powder Keg. Just saying. All right, well, now I can Portent and Impulse. Hopefully I just find 2 good things. Vision Charm, Flash of Insight, or Vision Charm Daze. I want to take Vision Charm here, and then I want to cast Impulse, because I'd really like to have a Phyrexian Dreadnought on the battlefield sooner than later. This, ideally before my opponent casts Armageddon. Gush is kind of passive insulation versus cards like Armageddon, though. You still don't have any lands, and you got to rebuild. Ooh, mulch, hot. 4 cards. They got a forest and brushland. Discarded a Terravore and a Goose. Mox Diamond. Discarding Wasteland. Yeah, that one won't find a target here. And there's the forest. I can wait until the end step to blow this powder keg. I can really wait a long time to blow this powder keg. What I don't want is for my opponent to play a second 1-drop second main, and then I'm back under pressure. The Impulse found a bunch of bullshit. Gush is online this turn. I guess Counterspell is what I would like from these options. I'm not going to tick this up. 1 seems like the right number for it to be on. I was going to Gush. Now I don't have to. I'm still going to. All right, Gush. I have the velocity. I can cast the cards that this doesn't punish me too hard. Portent. Gush, Opt, Island. I can Opt, Island to the bottom. Draw Gush. I already have Gush, though. I actually don't want any of this. Shuffle the ability and pass the turn. Drew another Vision Charm. I can counter an Armageddon or a Terravore. I can take some hits from this Goose before I have to blow it up. If I can get my opponent on the hook for like a Naturalize to clear the powder keg, that's awesome. Another 1 damage from the Goose, and I'll go to my turn. Didn't do anything that turn cycle. Daze. Not in a hurry to fire Gush into discarding 5 cards at the end of my turn. No thanks. Opponent's 1 card away from Threshold, where the clock speeds up considerably. They're down to 11, which means 1 hit from Dreadnought gets it done. Armageddon. Counterspell. I'll take 3 and then blow Powder Keg in the end step. Brushland. Werebear. Okay. I mean, that guy is online. But guess what? So is Daze. Ba-boom! That was a filthy Daze. Big fan. All right, I'll blow the powder keg. I've taken enough damage. I'm over it. I got a not very good hand going on here. Sylvan Library is going nuts. One is down to 7. Armageddon. Okay. I can blue Gush. I'll at least have lands to play, even if I don't spike a counterspell. All right, blue. Geddon resolves. And I'm gonna Flash of Insight, I guess. Flash for 1. I'll take Thwart. That would be a funny response to Armageddon. It's like, you get to Geddon me, but all my lands are gone anyway. But you get to keep all your lands. Chain of Vapor. That could be kind of a dick move versus that Mox Diamond. But if my opponent has lands in hand, that doesn't matter much. I think I'd rather use it to tempo through a something else, like bounce a Terravore or something. All right, I'm gonna discard Island and Thwart might be good at one point. Island and Vision Charm. I do want lands. I've got a Thwart, or I've got a Stifle and a Charm if I find a Dreadnought. 2 turns from now, Thwart can protect it. Opponents at 7 from their own Sylvan Library. I don't have to keep Dreadnought in play very long. Mulch, hit Treetop Village after making their land drop for turn, playing around Daze. Withered Wayfarer. Yes, that resolves. That will never be activatable. I'm not going to have more lands than you, opponent. You made sure of that. Island to the bottom. Found a Gush. Flash of Insight is now online as basically Demonic Tutor. Wild Mongrel. Okay, that resolves. I'm at 14. It's less than I might like. 13. Flash of Insight. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll look at more than 1/4 of my deck. I do need this Dreadnought. I would like a foil, but I'm going to take Dreadnought for sure. That one is required. And then foil, counterspell, Gush, Op, Stifle, and then the lands. I misclicked one of the lands, but unlikely that's going to punish me. If I get to the bottom 2 cards of my deck, something's gone horribly wrong anyway. Okay, I could try to survive this turn by traditional means. I think I'm just going to stifle out a Dreadnought. Use Thwart to protect it, or Thwart and Vision Charm can both try to protect it. Stifle. This does make Chain of Vapor now no longer really an option, because they're happy to sack lands to put my Dreadnought back in my hand. Maybe I'm supposed to bounce Mongrel before I do any of that. Mongrel's not bigger than a 12/12 though, and it's not going to be. And if they do manage to defeat my 12/12, I can bounce the Mongrel. All right, they went to 2. 6 cards in hand. 5 cards in hand. Okay, I think Vision Charming this out is the way. So opponent can activate Treetop Village. Mongrel is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then they're dead. If they mulch into a bunch of action, well, if you mulch, you don't get to Treetop Village. They've made their land drop already. Okay, I'll just phase this out. I phase out Dreadnought, and I'm still willing to thwart here. If I must. Seems I must. All right, don't have another one, please. But you've been sculpting your hand a long time. I know 2 of the 3 cards in hand. Cool. All right. Sylvan Library gives and takes. A Annul looks good here. Sabo's Web looks like a decent option here. That means they can't tap Wasteland for mana either. Or they get 1 mana out of it. So that is kind of a punish, even if I don't care about Wasteland. I could see Chain of Vapor being reasonable. Daze got the shit out of them in game 1, which means I think they'll probably play around it in game 2. Misdirection on Swords to Plowshares is pretty cool. And they are a creature deck. Powder Keg had a moment, and Powder Keg on 0 blowing up Mox Diamond. It could be an angle of this game. The Thwart just had a really heroic moment, though that might be one of my worst counterspells. And Misdirection, if I have Sabo's Web in and my Powder Keg, Misdirection actually works on Naturalize too. Building my own options. In Peak is my worst cantrip. I could see cutting that. I think this game will go along where Flash of Insight is great. Maybe I just don't need this other Chain of Vapor, and I'll do it like that. This hand is... It's much like my hand in game 1, where it doesn't work without the next land. There's 16 lands in my deck, and, 8 cantrips? Now that I know the matchup, and it's not one where I'm going to get run over, I could be a little more bullish on keeping a hand like this, but also, if this hand just fails, that's a game given up for no reason. All right, I'll keep and bottom Misdirection from this hand. All right, no need to get greedy. 6 is just fine. A Gush, I like that. Portent myself. Counterspell, Island, Vision Charm. Okay. These are all part of the plan eventually. I have to be careful not to F6, make my opponent think about Daze. Okay, I didn't have Daze. And now Daze doesn't matter for the rest of the game because they have a mana dork, which is why I boarded out Daze. See how that works? It's pretty cool. All of the herd. Is this something that I counter? I don't think so. In knowing their deck has Armageddon in it kind of changes the priorities of what I'm supposed to be countering. That's also something that dies to Powder Keg. Okay, well, here's a Dreadnought that I can't protect yet, but I think I gotta put that in the bank while I can. Sending 2 foils to the bottom hurts with Gush in my hand. All right, so I could Gush to stifle in a Dreadnought, and I'm holding Vision Charm up to protect it from removal. All right, this seems worth pushing on, even though it is kind of a reckless all-in line. One could interpret it that way. But I did get myself back down to 7 cards in hand, which is always my biggest fear when I'm playing Gush, just gushing and then discarding a bunch of cards without doing anything. Crumble. Target artifact phases out. I don't like how much mana and cards in hand they still have, but alright, that worked. If I untap with another Vision Charm and Counterspell, I'm going to feel really good about my ability to tempo this out. I no longer care about Armageddon. Go ahead, do it. I'm winning here. Mongrel. 2 cards left. Werebear. Okay. This is a lot of stats, but still less than 12. Okay, so I'm at 16. Opponent can discard 2 cards to Mongrel. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're very far away from Threshold. If they Armageddon, I just counter it and I win. Armageddon does give them Threshold, which is 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's still not even lethal. Yeah, here we go. 12, 12. A sizable body. And they didn't have a follow-up last turn, and now I have actual counterspell available. Boom. All these big green booties versus one colorless shrimp. Who would win? On to the final trophy round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I'm on the play in the final trophy round. Hand's pretty nice. I'm going to keep. There's something about 17 basic islands in a deck full of all old border blue cards that just does it for me. Not to be a creep live on camera, but oh baby. Okay, portent myself. Opponent's on 6. A Dreadnought. That's part of the combo. All right, I will keep these cards. Island, Dreadnought, Counterspell. In case they're a discard deck, I don't want that Dreadnought in my hand right now. A Plains. Oh god, a horrible Plains. That Plains is deeply offensive to the pre-modern format. Everything I just said, my weird little horny rant about how my hand looks, counteracted by my opponent's horrific looking hand. I know I'm drawing a land and I want that, so I'm not going to impulse here. I can be patient. My opponent's not really doing anything. This could be land still that just hasn't developed a blue mana yet. It could be some dead guy L, something or other. I don't know. What deck has Plains and 2 Mishra's Factories in it? Is White Stacks a thing in this format? Wouldn't surprise me if there's some variant of that out there. Okay, Impulse. Misdirection, Gush, Opt. Misdirection is a free counterspell, kind of. But unless my opponent has a creature in play, it won't protect me from Swords to Plowshares. And I already have Counterspell. I already have Gush. I kind of want the velocity of Opt here. A Stifle. Put it in my hand. Okay. A land I'm cooking. Daze cooks too. I guess Gush is a land, huh? Alright, well. Gush. And I found the foil. Life is good. Alright. Phyrexian Dreadnought, Stifle, pass the turn with 3 counterspells available. Kind of annoying that I can't actually use Daze here, but all right. I have another hard counter and the Daze available. If I had just drawn a land that turn, it would have been a lot easier. Foil, discard, island, and Flash of Insight. Don't have another one. Settle down. Dust Bowl. All right, don't care. And now Counterspell Double Daze is up. Let's go. Pass the turn. The opponent's mono white land disruption, whatever that is. The double Swords to Plowshares look pretty serious. Sabo's Web looks devastating for whatever they're doing. They banned land tax, right? Can't do that anymore. Trying to think of what's in this deck that I need to be worried about. It's possible that was just land still that didn't draw an island. Is this a Brain Freeze matchup? It could be. Daze doesn't actually look good here. I don't know if you're supposed to board out Dreadnoughts when you board in, like when you're really committed to the Brain Freeze plan, but if this is not actually a grindy control deck, and I can just scam out a Dreadnought like that, I think I want the option. Peak would give me a lot of information about their deck, and I guess Misdirection. If they're a creatureless deck that has Swords to Plowshares as interaction, Misdirection doesn't look very good. I have to imagine a Null is good here, just based on the context of what cards I did see. And whether they're mono white or blue white or white black or whatever, they're probably going to have Seal of Cleansing and then whatever else. Do I just bring in a Null in the pseudo blind and hope I'm right? I think I'm just going to hit submit with this small change until I have more information. Like, even if they do resolve a moat or a humility or some jacked up thing against me. Wait, moat's not in this format, is it? We don't get legends. Oh, a humility or some jacked up thing. Like, I boarded out my Chain of Vapor, but the Brain Freeze kill still works against that. All right, I'll keep my hand. Oh, okay, it was just land still. I was thinking too hard. Okay, well, I know what my job is. Sabo's Web, hell yeah. Okay. Vision Charm is not that good, and I have a bunch of them. All right, I'll take the Sabo's Web. I do kind of just want to hit land drops, though. I could play Web here. Yeah, that'll probably draw out a Counterspell or a Disenchant, both of which I'm happy to play against. Yeah, Counterspell. You got me. A Plains. I know I'm not drawing a land here, so this is going to be a main phase opt. Just looking for the goods. Portent, good enough. Portent, I'd love to just see 3 islands. Island, Portent, Stifle. Okay. I'll take the island and the Portent, and then I'll shuffle away the Stifle, or at least manipulate it so I don't have to look at it right away. Impulse. Pretty excited that this is shaping up to be a Brain Freeze matchup. I did call that out as something that I really like about this list and this deck in general. Meddling Mage. Okay. That resolves. I hope it doesn't name Brain Freeze. That would be so smart. Phyrexian Dreadnought. Okay. Well, I can't play that one anymore. Wasn't gonna anyway. That does put something on the clock, though. Island, Stifle. Can I afford to draw through all these? I'm out of card selection. I think I have to shuffle this. I want the islands. I don't want the Stifle. And now I need to find a Brain Freeze to really get it moving. Okay, shuffled and found an island anyway. Factory. Another web. Oh, I should not have played my land. All right, well, I'll web here. I think foiling to protect this actually would have been good enough. Okay, it resolved. I like that. I'm in the Gush and Brain Freeze market. And I got 9 turns to figure it out. They must be planning to immediately disenchant this Sabo's Web because they tapped Mishra's Factory when they had other lands available. That's interesting. Okay. I'm happy to see that go. I wonder if that was representing other interaction that they have. Like they actually needed blue still up while doing that, or what does that mean? Fact or fiction? All right, well, I could foil that, but I'm not gonna. Disenchant and everything else. Is that's how we're doing it? All right, yeah, I don't really care about Mana Leak or the lands. All right, they took the everything else pile. Just out here trying to draw Brain Freeze. Discarded Flooded Strand. Drawing a lot of islands now. I know I said I wanted those, but I'm good. We can stop. Meddling Mage is in. Powder Keg. All right, well, that card's actually good. That can blow up Meddling Mage and take my web with it, but let's have a conversation about it. Counterspell, Disenchant. I could use Vision Charm to phase this out. I mean, this doubles the clock. I know they have Mana Leak, so foiling it's not great. And that makes sense why they didn't take the bait on the Disenchant. I mean, foiling here does at least get Mana Leak out of their hand. All right, yeah, not ideal. Maybe I'm being impatient. If I knew they had Mana Leak, I could have just held up foil around it and let them struggle for a while. Yeah, I feel like I might just be playing this game completely tactically poorly, if not strategically poorly. All right. I don't think I opt now because I have to win next turn all at once. And opt is Storm. Storm needs to be really high to actually win next turn. And I need to find the Brain Freeze. There's 2 of them and 39 cards here. All right. Draw for turn. Island. Opt. Show me Brain Freeze. Show me Gush. Bottom. Vision Charm. That's not very good. I can phase out Mishra's Factory to get myself a turn, but that cost me one of my mill spells. Yeah, gushing into Brain Freeze and additional spells is what I'm trying to do here. Stand still. Okay. And decking them is the job. And stand still helps do it. Okay, phase out target artifact. You draw 3 cards. I go to 2. And now I'm trying to gush into Brain Freeze. It could happen. Let's go. Gush, gush, gush. Shit. All right. That was a lot of nothing. All right, I'm going to board in Chain of Vapor and probably shave a Dreadnought. Chain of Vapor. And Meddling Mage is so good in Premodern. That's a card that I love. It's just as a Magic card, but certainly its particular strengths in this format are really impressive. How many chains do I want? How many Dreadnoughts do I want? Do I need Stifles if I have fewer Dreadnoughts? Like Dreadnought could become Chain of Vapor and Annul. I still have 2 Dreadnoughts in here and some amount of other stuff. This is kind of going all in on Brain Freeze, but I'm here for it. On the play with a hand, I must mulligan. On the draw with or on the play still, on the mulligan with a hand I'm going to keep. What if you mulliganed, you lost the play? That sounds like one of the things they would have experimented with for 3 months in the mid 2000s, trying to figure out how the mulligan rule should work. Okay, you can have 7 cards again, but now you go second. And I'm going to bottom Stifle because there's only 2 Dreadnoughts left in my deck. Stifle does very little against my opponent's deck. I Portent myself. Opponent kept 7. Foil and Counterspell. Okay. I want this land enough that I'm fine leaving Counterspell under it, then Impulse can get rid of the foil and we can try to move forward. Fetching Island around Stifle. Okay. All right. Is Impulse worth a mana leak to you? It is not. Gush versus Island. Gush will eventually be pretty important. I'll take a Gush now. Brain Freeze, yes. Feeling good about taking that Gush. And I'm actually just going to pass with Counterspell available. Because now my whole plan is here. I just need to sculpt it and not get clocked by something like Meddling Mage that I could have counterspelled. Coastal Tower. They tap, then untap to land. Impulse in the end step. Island and Portent. I'll just take an island at this point. Hitting my land drops pretty good. Okay, Island, opt. Mishra's Factory. Stand still. I'll opt in response. Island to the bottom. And I'll spend a counterspell here. They counter back. I mean, this is all part of my plan. Them having a standstill around. That's just 3 more cards. I don't have to mill them. Oh my god. Well, that was a pretty good draw. I'll just break the standstill now. Resolve web while it's good. And I have a counterspell to fight over a disenchant. 44 cards in my opponent's deck right now. Counterspell. And 7 cards in hand. Good chance they can fight back. But this is an important tool. Like being under on a 10-turn clock versus an infinity turn clock obviously is just way better for me. Okay, disenchant's countered. And now it's my turn. Peek. That could be Storm later on, or I could just look at my opponent's 7-card hand. All the cards in my hand are instants too, if we end up in a weird situation. All right, I'm going to peek at your hand in response to this standstill. Okay. Standstill resolves. Plow, Factor Fiction, Tapped Fairy Conclave, Annul, Mana Leak. Yeah, this is exactly what I want this game to look like. And now we settle in. I won't be casting that. Well, I might on my combo turn. Opponent is about to start missing land drops too. Another Vision Charm. Let's go. Mill 4. And there's no Flusterstorm or Mindbreak Trap, anything like that in this format, which means your Storm turn is pretty reliable once you get there. Island. Opponent has found a factory. 8 cards in hand. Right, time to discard. The best thing I can do is just hit land drops. Mana Leak discarded. Wart, pretty nice. And this is an aspect of Premodern that I actually really enjoy. Oh, wow. Are they going to try to... Okay, they're Factor Fictioning. So if I act now, what happens? So that Storm is 1, and this Factor Fiction is going to be worth 5 cards. So there's 35 cards functionally in their deck right now. If I respond, Standstill breaks, and then there's 32 cards functionally in their deck right now, which means Storm would have to be 11. Or Vision Charm. Vision Charm is worth multiple. All right, actual math. I can cast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spells at least, minus another 8. That's 24 cards. I think I should make a move here. I want the Standstill to break on them. I currently know that they can't really do anything. Okay. I'm going to Gush in response. We're going for it. You crack Standstill. I Gush. Found another Vision Charm. All right. Target player mills 4. I choose you. Target player mills 4. I choose you. Not doing this in the main phase did cost me some mana. Okay. I can build Storm by playing Vision Charm, thwarting it, and foiling Thwart. That Storm is 7, then Brain Freeze for 8. I think we're good. All right, I'll float all my mana. And then Vision Charm, target player mills 4, target you. In response, thwart Vision Charm. In response, foil Thwart. Then you mill 4. Chain of Vapor, my Sabo's Web. Brain Freeze you. And then Factor Fiction resolves for another 5 cards. They would need, like, if they boarded in a Gaia's Blessing, I'm so cooked here. Like, any color deck could play that. All right, here goes your deck. Don't have any counterattack for me, please. Deck's gone. Factor Fiction resolves, revealing 0 cards. Okay, well, a pretty clean 5-0 against a variety of decks. I got to do the turn 2 Dreadnought thing, and I got to do the deck you from 40 Brain Freeze thing against a control deck. I do have access to this deck in real life, and Buffalo Chicken Dip and Excalibur are both proxy friendly. They both have their own policies. Make sure you check what you're signing up for with specific TOs, but proxy friendly. I mean, hard to ignore a deck this powerful, this consistent, and it rewards both knowing tactically what every deck's capable of and strategically what every deck's capable of. Very cool. And this was me playing sloppy. I have no idea if my sideboard decisions were right. There were a bunch of spots where I was like, what can this deck actually do? Like, what cards are in this deck? And, once I've studied up a little more before my big events, I should be able to clean that up. But trophy on the board. Deck's great. Gush plus foil, pretty messed up. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna leave this one here. This is Mono Blue Stiflenaught from John. Bunch of Premodern events coming up. Excalibur, Buffalo Chicken Dip, Merlion. I hope to see various folks out there at those events. Come say hi. And for now, like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel. I'm out of here.